everyone, my name is Tao. I am a Beaver Hangouts program assistant and I'm going to take you through a day in my life. I woke up and I got ready for the day. I did my makeup. This is my outfit. Sometimes I like to dress up and sometimes I like to be comfy, and today comfort definitely won. What I like to do in the morning is I like to make myself a cup of coffee. Today I think I'm going to have a caramel latte. That sounds really good. This is my coffee setup. This machine right here is small but mighty. Whole beans, all of my syrups, more syrups, and my cute little espresso mugs. I got my milk ready. I pushed out my coffee and I tamped it down. And now we're going to see how the machine pulls the espresso shots. There are actually 2 days out of the week where I don't have any class and I just work. And that is the beauty of college. You can create your own schedule. So if you don't want to have class on Fridays, that is possible. Today, I actually do have class. I have BA 390, which is Fundamentals of Marketing. It is for my business minor. So I'm going to log into my Zoom lecture, be present in class, and then I will check back with you afterwards. I just finished up my lecture for Business 390. I'm actually sitting on my balcony right now. It is a little cold, which is why I have a jacket on, but it's the first time we've seen sun in about a week, so I'm gonna try to soak in as much of it as I can. I'm actually gonna show you the view on the balcony because I think it's really nice. Here's the view. That's the neighbor's house. That's their tree. Very pretty tree. This is our yard. Flowers, the nice lawn. That tree right there used to be a fully grown tree and then it died, so we had to put in a new one, which is why it looks kind of sad and baby because it's still growing. The lawn. This tree has very nice lights on it that you can control from your smartphone, so we can make it purple or red or pink or whatever we want. And that's the view. Yesterday was the start of week 8 of the term, which means that we are more than halfway through winter term, and I am more than halfway through my last year at Oregon State. That is so wild for me to think about. I can't wrap my head around that because it still feels like last month, last week, yesterday even. When my parents dropped me off in front of my dorm and drove away, and I was like, oh dang, I actually have to figure out how to be on my own for the first time. And now I'm almost done with this whole experience, and I've realized I've changed a lot since I came to college, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Stepping foot into university, I was really nervous. I was scared about being on my own for the first time, but I was also unsure about being in college because I felt like I didn't belong. I'm a first generation college student, which means I am the first person in my family to go to a 4-year university. I'm also the oldest one in my family, so I'm kind of setting the tone for what college will be like for my sister as well as my extended family, because all of my cousins are at least 10 years younger than me. This is one of the realities of filming outside. You have to work with the sun. Once again, no complaints. So because I'm the first person in my immediate and my extended family to go to college, I really didn't have anyone I could turn to ask questions about college. For example, I couldn't ask anyone what the Common App was, or what FAFSA was, or what the ACT and the SAT were, and what's the difference between the regular SAT and the SAT subject test, and what does EFC stand for. Because I wasn't as sure about the application process or what college was even like, immediately I felt like I didn't belong. Should I even be in college if I don't even know what it is? Will I even do well in college if I don't even know the difference between the SAT and the ACT? When I got to college, I thought these feelings of uncertainty and insecurity would go away because, you know, like I made it. Well, it actually got worse. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy my first year because I had a great time, but it was definitely a learning curve. The biggest shock to me was that this feeling of I don't belong here grew tenfold, even though I was at university. And like, I think that's due to the fact that I would sit in this giant lecture hall with 300, 400, 500, even 600 students. And it seemed like all of them had parents who went through college, or some of my peers already knew about the topic topic we were talking about that day because they had done research about it in high school. That was a big shock for me because I went to a high school where 60% of our students were on free and reduced lunch. It was an achievement for one of us to get into a four-year university, and that's something that I'm still proud of, and I will always be proud of that I even got into university. But when I'm in a room where that is the norm and it's kind of expected of you to go to a four-year university, it's easy to feel like you don't belong there or you're somehow inferior to these people. Anytime I didn't do well in a test, it was always, well, of course you didn't do well because you shouldn't be here. Anytime I got rejected from an internship or a job, it was, well, of course, why would they choose you when they have better applicants? The reasoning behind all of that was that I was not worthy and I was not supposed to be at Oregon State. 4 years later, that is not true. And that's all because I've been blessed to have experiences and meet people who are there to help me realize my abilities and foster that sense of confidence and compassion for myself. I'm actually applying to graduate school right now, and it's basically college 2.0, as I like to say. So the feelings of doubt and uncertainty that I had when I was applying to college are kind of coming back. But the difference now is that I'm a lot more compassionate towards myself. I know that I have the skills and the accomplishments necessary to excel in graduate school. More importantly, I'm just really proud of how far I've come. Even if I don't make it into graduate school, that doesn't negate the fact that I've had jobs and internships that have helped me build these skills. I've met wonderful people that have now become my mentors and people that I know I'll be in contact with for the rest of my life. I've found the courage to do things for me, and I am unapologetically myself. There were a lot of hurdles I had to go through to be where I am today, and there will be a lot of hurdles I have to jump through in my field. I am continuing the work that people before me have done so that I can even be in university, even be in this field. Through that, I'm also paving the way for other individuals after me. That's something that I take great pride in, and it's something that I'm really grateful that I even have the opportunity to do. Being by myself also made me more confident because I had to navigate what being an adult is like. I would say living in my own apartment by myself was the quintessential experience that made me grow up a lot. And it made me grow up in multiple ways too. Obviously, I had to figure out how to run a household and how to deal with issues by myself, but it also forced me to be more confident in myself and who I am as a person because it was just me. So now that I'm a fourth year and I'm looking back on my time at Oregon State, even though I wouldn't change anything about my time here, I do wish that I was more confident going into university. That would have led me to enjoy my first year more because I wouldn't have been weighed down by so much anxiety, or it would have motivated me to pursue opportunities that were presented to me that I declined because I didn't think I was worthy of them. I say that's how I've changed throughout university. And for students who aren't in college yet, I will say that change isn't a bad thing. Sometimes change is scary because it's deviating from the norm and it's deviating from what you know. But change and discomfort also propel you to find new solutions for things. In my case, it propelled me to start thinking about why I was so hard on myself and why I was so unsure of myself, and what I can do to remedy that so I could be a happier and healthier person. Embrace the change when you go to college. You're going to college to change your knowledge of a specific topic, aka the topic that you're going to major in and specialize in. So why not use that opportunity to change as a person and be a better version of yourself? This has all been very philosophical and deep. I'm usually not a person that's like always deep all the time, so I'll just talk about an example of a very minute and kind of funny change for me. Well, I went into college being sensitive to dairy, and I'm leaving college being allergic to dairy. I entered college not having watched a single movie in the Marvel universe, and I'm leaving college having watched Endgame, the last movie in the series. Have I watched the other ones? No. Will I plan to? Probably not, but it's a good experience.
All right, so I have 10 minutes before I have to hop onto my Zoom call for econ tutoring. So I'm gonna whip up a quick lunch and probably bother my dog because I hear her in her kennel.
This is Jessie. She's an 11-year-old Papillon. She's not the biggest fan when I pick her up. I don't know why, because I hold her like a nice baby, but down, over, girl sit, bag. Oh, hi Sherry. Dance, dance, dance. There you go. Hi, Sherry. This is my other dog, Sherry. If you watched my day in the life video on Instagram, or really any of our Instagram posts, you would have seen Sherry. She appears in my content more because, oh God, spoke too soon. I was gonna say because she's more tolerable of me holding her, but I guess not today. Here is my lunch. This is baked oatmeal. Oopsies. And this is leftover creamy spaghetti from last night. I tried to make it pretty for you all with some scallions as garnish. So I'm gonna eat my lunch and then go to work. All right, I just finished up my shift for econ tutoring. On Tuesdays, I tutor from 2 to 5, so that 3-hour chunk is done. Now I am going to go to my Econ Honor Society initiation. I am in Omicron Delta Epsilon, as you can see. So I'm gonna go get initiated and then make some dinner. So I will see you later. We are in my kitchen again. I always seem to film in this area, this corner, because I spend a lot of my time in the kitchen, whether that be making my cup of coffee, getting a snack, getting a meal, doesn't matter. Dinner tonight will be a baked, creamy marinara pasta with some vegetable dish that my partner's mom is going to make. I finished dinner. It was delicious. Brussels sprouts, delicious. Pasta, delicious. I also had some gummies for dessert, also delicious. I am just going to spend the rest of my night studying. Thank you for tuning in to this day in my life and reflection video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Instagram at OSU Beaver Hangouts, and visit our website beaverhangouts.oregonstate.edu. See you in the next video.